Welcome to All Things ElectronX, your electrifying gateway into the world of electronics and innovation. Here, curiosity meets clarity as we break down the often complex realm of gadgets and gizmos into digestible, relatable insights for tech enthusiasts, hobbyists, and everyday tinkerers alike. From the tiniest microchips that quietly power our devices to the most formidable gaming rigs and custom builds that push performance boundaries, All Things ElectronX is your deep dive into the hardware that powers our digital lives. Today, we're diving into a topic that has sparked more heated gamer debates than controller layouts and mouse DPI settings: Hdmi 2.1 vs Hdmi 2.0, what gamers need to know. HDMI specifications have become more important than ever as resolution, frame rate, and image quality push into territory that was once unthinkable outside of high-end PCs. Before we get into the detailed breakdown of what makes Hdmi 2.1 a leap over Hdmi 2.0, it's worth looking back at how HDMI technology has evolved over the years. Introduced in the early 2000s, HDMI started as a way to replace the tangle of analog cables with a single digital connection for both audio and video. Each new version brought more bandwidth, better picture quality, and improved audio capabilities, but it wasn't until Hdmi 2.1 that we saw a specification designed with high refresh, high-resolution gaming at its core. Hdmi 2.0 arrived in 2013 as the successor to Hdmi 1.4, pushing the limits of what home entertainment and gaming could deliver at the time. With a bandwidth ceiling of 18 gigabits per second, it allowed gamers to enjoy 4K resolution at 60 frames per second, a massive jump from the 1080p standards of the previous decade. This meant sharper textures, crisper edges, and an overall more cinematic look, perfect for the growing number of titles optimized for high-resolution displays. But as games became more demanding and refresh rates more important for competitive play, Hdmi 2.0's limitations began to show. While it could theoretically push higher frame rates, it often required compromises such as lowering resolution or using chroma subsampling, which slightly reduced color sharpness in text and fine details. For casual players or those prioritizing single-player cinematic experiences, Hdmi 2.0 remained perfectly capable, but for competitive gamers chasing every millisecond, it was already starting to feel dated. Enter Hdmi 2.1, officially launched in late 2017, which represented not just an incremental upgrade but a leap forward in digital display connectivity. With bandwidth boosted to a staggering 48 gigabits per second, it shattered the old limitations, enabling 4K resolution at a silky 120 frames per second, as well as support for 8K and even higher experimental resolutions. More importantly, Hdmi 2.1 introduced gamer-focused features like variable refresh rate, VRR, and Auto Low Latency Mode, ALLM, designed to eliminate tearing, reduce lag, and make gameplay as responsive as possible. The jump from Hdmi 2.0 to 2.1 isn't just about numbers, it's about how games feel in motion. For example, a racing game at 4K 120Hz on Hdmi 2.1 doesn't just look sharper, it handles fast-moving scenery with a level of clarity and smoothness that keeps you fully immersed. Pair that with VRR, and your display matches every frame your GPU sends out, preventing visual stutters during sudden action spikes. While Hdmi 2.0 can technically still handle most current-gen games at 60 Hz in 4K, it can't unlock the true performance ceiling of next-gen consoles like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, or high-end GPUs like Nvidia's RTX 4000 series and AMD's RX 7000 series. This makes Hdmi 2.1 not just a luxury for enthusiasts but a necessity for those who want to see every detail and respond to every frame in real time. When it comes to bandwidth, Hdmi 2.0 caps out at 18 gigabits per second, while Hdmi 2.1 more than doubles this to a staggering 48 gigabits per second. This extra capacity is what allows Hdmi 2.1 to carry 4K resolution at 120 Hz without any visual compromises, while Hdmi 2.0 often requires either lowering resolution or compressing the signal. For gamers, this means Hdmi 2.1 can deliver ultra-smooth motion without sacrificing sharpness, a critical edge in competitive play. Resolution support also takes a leap. Hdmi 2.0 can output 4K at 60 Hz and even reach 120 Hz in 1080p or 1440p modes, but Hdmi 2.1's raw bandwidth means it can push 4K at 120 Hz natively and even deliver 8K content at 60 Hz for future-proof setups. While few games run natively at 8K today, the ability to handle that resolution ensures your setup is ready for the next generation of visuals. Another key difference is chroma subsampling and color depth. Hdmi 2.0 often uses chroma subsampling like 4:2:0 or 4:2:2 at higher resolutions to fit within its bandwidth, which slightly reduces text clarity and fine details in UI elements. Hdmi 2.1, on the other hand, can deliver full 4:4 for RGB color at 4K 120 Hz, meaning every pixel gets complete color data for maximum sharpness. HDR handling is also vastly improved in Hdmi 2.1 thanks to its ability to support dynamic HDR formats. While Hdmi 2.0 supports HDR10, which applies one brightness and color profile per piece of content, Hdmi 2.1 can adjust brightness and color dynamically frame by frame, keeping highlights bright and shadows rich even during fast scene changes. This keeps visuals more immersive and consistent, particularly in visually demanding games. On the audio front, Hdmi 2.1 introduces eARC, Enhanced Audio Return Channel, which supports uncompressed, lossless audio formats like Dolby True HD and DTS HD Master Audio. Hdmi 2.0's ARC, while functional, is limited to compressed formats, which can mean a slight reduction in sound quality during intense, cinematic gameplay moments. For gamers with high-end audio setups, eARC makes a noticeable difference in clarity and positional accuracy. For gamers with high-end audio setups, eARC makes a noticeable difference in clarity and positional accuracy. At the end of the day, whether Hdmi 2.0 or Hdmi 2.1 is right for you depends on the kind of gamer you are, the hardware you own, and the experience you're chasing. If you're playing mostly at 1080p or 1440p and aren't pushing for ultra-high refresh rates, Hdmi 2.0 can still deliver a fantastic experience. But if you want to unlock 4K at 120 Hz, enjoy tear-free VRR gaming, or prepare for the next generation of consoles and GPUs, Hdmi 2.1 is the clear winner.